Hi, this is Null Inquisitor. Today I'm gonna be talking about hit points. Same old G's video about abstract hit points underline a specific problem with hit points, and I would like to share some experiment and thoughts that I had with this. You see, I think the major problem with hit points are their quantity or their amounts, and secondly, I think the term hit points is the problem. First, the quantity. For game masters and players that are used to play D20 games, I've often heard that there is a sweet spot between level 1 and 10 where the players likes to play. There is a sweet spot that people likes their character to be in. For our group, the sweet spot would be between 5 and 10, maybe. Let's say a solid 5. The amount of hit point you have is insufficient to have a cinematic character, an heroic character. And then, on the other end, when you increase these levels, you have hit points that come with it, and at some point between 5 and 10, the characters start to lose their realism. First thing about fixing that is the quantity. If you're using a hit point system and you do like in the Mutant Epoch game, where you have some hit points, but compared to what the damage of the weapon is, you often find yourselves realizing that you don't have as much hit points as you thought. So imagine your next game in Pathfinder with only 2 hit points. Imagine you roll your startup hit points instead of having maximum die as the new rule. Imagine that after each level you gain only a few hit points. That should be scary in itself. But since Pathfinder and most D20 games are about combat, it's better to have as many hit points as you can. So dealing with this large pool of hit points, if you are hit in a certain location, the game just don't take this into account, and this can be frustrating. But in the grand threefold model, GNS theory, the hit point system with large quantities of hit points seems to be on the gamist side. Secondly, the term hit points. It already tells you that you've been hit. When you are hit, you lose some hit point. I think that if you just remove the term hit point and replace it with vitality or luck, you suddenly don't have this problem anymore. And that way the system becomes more narrativistic. You see, you have still your hit points, but in this case you rename them to some other aspect, or quality or adjective. So instead of losing hit or being hit and losing substance or stamina or toughness, instead of losing that, you're losing some kind of luck. I've always liked the character found in the system found in the D20 Star Wars games and Spycraft, just because of the name. You are not necessarily hit by an enemy, but your vitality go down, and then you have your wound points that is equal to Constitution. As far as D20 game goes, I think the game Radiance do a very good job with hit points. Your hit points in this game is given to you by your race, your species, and this doesn't change at all unless you take a feat or a power. Your wound points is fixed, and the amount of vitality or energy you have rise with levels. So it represents your luck, and this unit it also fuel your power. So it will go down, and the more you'll get in parentheses hit, this unit will also go down, and then at 0 you will begin to be very fatigued, and then you will start to lose some wound points that are directly built from your species. So I think the hit point problem can be solved in these two ways. The term, change the term for other things, and if you still want to stay on the hit point side, maybe have less of them. If you want to go more on the narrativist side, I suggest you just use rules like found in Radiance or D20 Moderns, where you have vitality and wounds, or you still have possibilities of wound system with wound levels and or conditions and aspects. My favorite games revolve around a mix of hit points and condition and everything. My favorite game, GURPS, does them all, I think. It's a very powerful way because you can pretty much approach it as you want. If you just play with the basic rules of GURPS, you can have your hit points in a very abstract way. But it's more fun to play with the rules for crippling damage, for hit location, for different type of damage and how they react with the body. You see, in GURPS, when you impale someone with an impaling weapon, you do twice as much damage as if you just punch the person in the face. So the impaling, the type of damage, really affect your character in a different way. If you're attacking someone with a burning attack, the damage will be different. So GURPS is really one of those games where you can go in a very gamist way if you just use the basic combat system, and if you want to be more narrativist, you can just use some rule here and there, some hit location sometime, some damage type that will affect your character. But if you want to go really full simulationist, you can use pretty much all the rule in GURPS for damage, and suddenly you will need armor and cover and tactics. You will have to think. You will have to guess what the enemy will go, what they are going to do and how they will attack you, what kind of weapon are they using. So when I use hit points, I think I enjoy their simplicity, but if I really want a game with a heavy G, I think I can enjoy every system, but I will prefer simulationist system. So thanks for watching, and as always, I wish you have a good game, and see you next time. Bye.